Welcome to the ultimate 2026 World Cup explainer. We're already seeing seismic shocks, shattered records, and some absolutely breathtaking football. If you want the deepest tactical breakdowns and the most vibrant visual analysis of this historic tournament, you've got to hit that subscribe button right now. Let's dive straight into the history-making drama. But before we break down the epic, analytical moments from these opening matches, I've got a question for you. With all this sheer firepower on display, who do you think is taking home the Golden Boot? Drop your predictions in the comments right now. Part 1. The Goal-Scoring Gods, History in the Making. So, Lionel Messi kicked off Argentina's campaign with an absolutely stunning hat trick against Algeria in a decisive 3-0 victory. And with that, he officially tied Miroslav Klose's all-time World Cup record of 16 goals. And you know, if tying the all-time scoring record wasn't enough, the context makes it even wilder. At 38 years and 357 days old, Messi literally shattered the record for the oldest player to ever score a World Cup hat-trick. He completely overhauled a benchmark set back in 2018. This race for the absolute top is getting unbelievably tight. You've got Messi and Klose tied at 16, right? But France's Kylian Mbappe is stalking them closely with 14 goals already, and he just opened his 2026 campaign. That gap is closing fast. Part 2. Creators and Playmakers, the artists on the pitch. Argentina's manager, Lionel Scaloni, perfectly captured Messi's brilliance here. He noted that Messi's special aura thrives because he's supported by a genuine group of friends out there. He isn't just a solo act anymore, he's the orchestrator. There's just immense historical weight here. Messi's 8 career World Cup assists put him right alongside the legendary creator himself, Diego Maradona. It shows a truly rare duality of elite finishing paired with elite playmaking. Part 3. England's electric start, thriller in Dallas. Let's talk about that seesaw first half. Despite trailing at times, England ultimately controlled the tempo in that 22-degree air-conditioned stadium, dominating the ball with 55% possession against a highly tactical Croatian midfield. This match was defined by massive momentum swings. Harry Kane held his nerve on a super dramatic retaken penalty, which was immediately followed by Jude Bellingham's powerhouse run right after the half. And ultimately, substitutes Bukayo Saka and Marcus Rashford combined for a clinical low finish to put the whole thing out of reach. The big takeaway here, manager Thomas Tuchel's immense belief in his squad's team spirit under high pressure paid off spectacularly. When the real stress of the tournament hit, his substitutions and tactical adjustments made the ultimate difference. Part 4. Group I Heavy Hitters, Europe's Powerhouses. Looking at the standings, Norway and France are sitting very comfortably at the top with 3 points each. Both teams delivered incredibly assertive and dominant opening wins, laying down a serious marker for everyone else. Breaking down France's 3-1 victory against Senegal, Mbappe broke records with a stunning double. That's his 58th national goal, making him the highest scorer in France's history. Meanwhile, Michael Olise just beautifully orchestrated the midfield to earn man of the match. And Norway made a truly terrifying statement of their own. Erling Haaland secured his own man of the match honors with a devastating 2 goals in a 4-1 demolition of Iraq. He proved that Norway's attack is going to be an absolute nightmare for opposing defenses. Part 5. The DR Congo surprise, the underdog defiance. So, Portugal was heavily favored to dominate, but Cristiano Ronaldo really struggled to find the net. This extends a deeply frustrating 10-game major tournament drought for him. We're talking 33 total shots and 0 goals across recent competitions. Against all expectations, the final score stood at a 1-1 draw. This result is an absolute testament to DR Congo's incredible grit, their tactical defiance, and their total refusal to be intimidated by European giants. Despite an early 6-minute strike from Portugal's João Neves, DR Congo just did not crumble. Yohan Wissa answered back right after halftime, and goalkeeper Mpasi made heroic, commanding saves to secure a historic point for the Leopards. Part 6. What to watch next? The drama continues. Looking ahead to the schedule, we've got some massive, crucial matchups featuring France, Norway, and England. These games are going to go a long way in determining who actually advances to the knockout stages. I'm going to leave you with this final thought to ponder. With Mbappe trailing by just 2 goals, will the French superstar actually surpass Messi's all-time World Cup record before this tournament concludes? Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for checking out this explainer, and keep your eyes on the pitch. Are the biggest World Cup battles happening on the pitch or in a corporate boardroom? Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking World Cup 2026, shocks, stars, and transfer madness. We're jumping right into an explosive opening week that is literally sending shockwaves through the football world. But hey, before we get into the crazy upsets and billion-dollar deals, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our tactical breakdowns. So we have to ask this massive question right out of the gate, because honestly, the early numbers, they reveal a tournament being completely turned upside down by huge underdog upsets and massive landscape-shifting background deals. You really have to wonder, is this World Cup being dominated by the veterans on the field, or is a mega club like Real Madrid basically winning the tournament from their offices? Stick with me, because the data here is absolutely fascinating. Okay, let's dive straight into the analytics of these early shocks. Pre-tournament heavyweights Brazil, Portugal, and the Netherlands, they were all surprisingly held to 1-1 draws by Morocco, DR Congo, and Japan, respectively. I mean, come on, nobody had that on their bingo card. The powerhouses are stumbling right out of the gates, and the underdogs are showing absolutely zero fear. And you can already see the crisis mode setting in. Just look at this quote from Brazil's Danilo. He's openly admitting that their first-half performance against a really intense Moroccan side fell completely short of their standards. When a veteran Brazilian defender publicly says they need to face up to reality, you know for sure the original tactical plan has gone completely out the window. Over in Group K, the psychology of it all is just wildly interesting. Portugal's manager Roberto Martinez pointed at something super counterintuitive. They got an early 6th-minute goal from Jean Neves, but Martinez said that early lead actually caused them to play with fear. Instead of cruising, it had the opposite effect. They hesitated, and an incredibly relentless DR Congo squad absolutely capitalized on it. And you know, the tension isn't just staying on the pitch. During the Dutch team's 1-1 draw with Japan, pundit and former player Rafael van der Vaart actually had to issue a formal public apology. He made some remarks on air about Japanese players looking alike, later clarifying he had no discriminatory intent whatsoever. But man, it really highlights the intense, microscopic pressure cooker every single nation is operating in right now. Section 1. England's massive statement win. Now, when we check out the live group standings, the contrast is just staggering. While Portugal faltered and dropped points, England absolutely swarmed Croatia in the second half. They put on a tactical masterclass to secure a thrilling, dominant 4-2 victory. The raw data from this match is just a joy to analyze. England survived some early scares, and then the floodgates opened. Jude Bellingham buried a beauty from a crazy tight angle, Marcus Rashford polished off a perfectly fluid team move, and Captain Harry Kane confidently put away 2 goals, a penalty and a clutch header from a Declan Rice corner. And guys, 10, that is the magic number. That double against Croatia bumps Harry Kane's total World Cup goal tally to exactly 10. That officially ties the legendary Gary Lineker's all-time World Cup scoring record for England. Just an absolutely historic moment for the captain. Section 2. The Touchline Pensioner Battle. Shifting gears a bit, we've got this upcoming June 18th fixture between the Czech Republic and South Africa. On paper, sure, it might look like your standard group stage match, but it's actually setting the stage for what the media is brilliantly calling the Battle of the Pensioners. This is literally the first time in the entire history of the World Cup that 2 74-year-old managers are facing off. You've got the booming Czech veteran Miroslav Kubek, who is calling this tournament the challenge of his life. And he's going up against the slender, gray-haired Belgian Hugo Broos, managing South Africa, who actually plans to retire right after this whole shebang is over. It's a totally unprecedented showcase of tactical longevity. Section 3. Stars sidelined by injury. Now, while those veteran managers are enjoying the peak of their careers, the injury list for the players is just a devastating read. Severe injuries have completely shredded some tactical playbooks. Brazil lost Real Madrid stars Rodrigo and Eder Militao to brutal knee injuries. England is missing Jack Grealish's creativity due to a stress fracture. And major talents, like Germany's Serge Gnabry, plus Spain's Fermin Lopez and Samo Omaridian, are all stuck watching from home. But honestly, no squad has been decimated quite like the Dutch. It's a full-blown crisis. They lost their defensive rock, Matthijs de Ligt, to back surgery. Add to that rising star Xavi Simons out with a torn ACL, Jordi Schouten dealing with a serious knee injury, and Jurrien Timber out with a groin problem. It makes total sense why they looked a bit lost and struggled to find their rhythm early on.
Section 4. Real Madrid's Transfer Monopoly.
Okay, here is where our explainer takes a massive turn from the pitch straight to the boardroom. Right in the middle of all this World Cup chaos, the live news ticker lit up with a landscape-shifting coup for returning manager Jose Mourinho. Real Madrid has officially signed Manchester City maestro Bernardo Silva as a free agent. The world is watching the World Cup, but Madrid is out here making massive moves. They are literally playing FIFA in real life right now. Not only did they grab Silva on a free transfer, but they also scooped up Chelsea's Marc Cucurella for over 55 million euros. And, get this, they had an absolutely mind-blowing 150 million euro bid for Julian Alvarez rejected by Atletico. All of this is happening while the group stages are still being played. It's madness. So, what does this all mean? The crucial thought I want to leave you with today is this. As the crazy transfer market frenzy completely overshadows the actual on-pitch action with record-breaking bids, is modern football being won by tactical geniuses on the touchline? Or is it ultimately won by the clubs with the absolute deepest pockets? Think about it. Let me know your take in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.
Okay, question for you. Do physical extremes or massive transfer budgets win championships? Welcome to the explainer that's literally going to change how you look at the 2026 World Cup. Make sure to hit subscribe right now because today we're diving deep into the hard data, some wild tactical anomalies, and just the sheer physical realities of this massive 48-nation tournament.
Actually, right off the bat, go ahead and drop a comment down below with your World Cup predictions. We want to give you guys a massive analytical edge today by asking one really fundamental question. Do physical extremes, like towering height or raw youth, actually win titles? Or does cash just completely rule the modern game? The numbers we're about to unpack are, well, they're pretty fascinating, and they're definitely going to give you a totally new perspective on how elite football is actually built.
So let's look at the 2026 tournament because the physical diversity here is just staggering. On one extreme, you've got Austria's Florian Weigl towering over everyone at 2.5 meters. And then on the flip side, you have Panama's Cesar Llanes standing at just 1.60 meters. Guys, that is a 45-centimeter difference. To put that into perspective, that's roughly the height of a professional football stacked on top of itself twice. While Weigl brings this unmatched aerial dominance, Llanes uses his super low center of gravity to basically be untouchable on the ball. It's wild. Football is truly one of the only sports where completely different physical profiles can share the exact same stage. Now, zooming out to the macro level, natural geographic demographics create these huge squad disparities. Take Bosnia and Herzegovina and Norway. They boast massive average squad heights of 187.2 centimeters. But then contrast that with Saudi Arabia at 178.4 centimeters. And sitting right in the middle, the defending champs Argentina at 179.7. So a team like Bosnia literally has nearly a 10-centimeter average height advantage over Saudi Arabia. But the million-dollar question, does being taller actually translate to winning football matches?
To answer that, we've got to look at this brilliant analytical study by Statalan, and specifically this one data point, negative 0.9486. I know, it looks like a totally random string of digits, right? But it's actually the secret key to understanding set-piece dominance in football. This specific number represents the correlation between the average defensive height of the Dutch club PSV Eindhoven and the number of goals they conceded from set pieces over a multi-year study.
Okay, let's break down the nerdy analytics for a second. That number is called a Spearman's correlation coefficient. It basically assesses how well the connection between two variables can be described. A value of -1 means a perfect inversely proportional relationship. The researchers noted that, the null hypothesis implies no significant linear correlation. But with a p-value of 0.0514, that hypothesis gets tossed out the window. So at negative 0.9486, the study proves a remarkably strong linear dependence. What does that mean in plain English? Simply put, the taller your defensive lineup is, the fewer goals you concede from corners and free kicks. It's a massive, totally quantifiable advantage.
And you know what? This dynamic plays out perfectly on the offensive side of the coin too. Look back at the 2014-2015 and 2015-2016 seasons. PSV Eindhoven maximized their huge squad to score heavily from dead balls. And guess what? It won them the Eredivisie Championship. Fast forward to a previous season where their set-piece goals dropped to just 9, they finished 4th. The StatAthlon regression analysis even extracted a linear model with an R-squared value of 0.989. That essentially means the model is highly confident in forecasting this stuff. It's a pretty stark reminder that height and set-piece efficiency can literally dictate who lifts the trophy at the end of the year.
So how does a national team actually apply these principles on the pitch? Well, let's look at the tallest team in the 2026 World Cup, Bosnia and Herzegovina. They use a highly aggressive 4-2-4 formation. They know they have absolute giants at the back. You've got Vazic operating between the posts, while center backs like Nikola Katic provide massive aerial strength right alongside Sead Kolasinac. Then the midfield uses a double pivot with Basic and Tahirovic, shielding that back four. This whole setup, it's built for high-risk, high-reward football. It completely relies on massive aerial strength and defense to just sweep away long balls, combined with this very direct attacking force up top with Demirovic and Lukic. Their game plan is to hit opponents in rapid transitions and just use their sheer physical dominance to overwhelm the other team.
And we actually saw exactly how this plays out in real life just days ago, during that really gripping 1-1 draw between co-hosts Canada and Bosnia-Herzegovina. Just 21 minutes in, Bosnia's height paid off instantly. Kolasinac flicked on a corner and boom, a headed goal by Jovo Lukic. But then, we saw the massive defensive impact. At 53 minutes, Kolasinac makes an absolutely insane goal line clearance. Then, 67 minutes in, Katic does the exact same thing, clearing another huge chance right off the line. Now yes, Canada's Sile Loren did eventually get an equalizer late in the game, but Bosnia's towering defenders practically validated that stathathlon data right before our eyes. They just used their giant frames to completely dominate both penalty boxes.
But hey, physical height isn't the only extreme we're seeing in 2026. We are also looking at a massive generational gap. Scotland's veteran goalkeeper Craig Gordon is stepping onto the pitch at 43 years old. Contrast that sharply with Mexico's rising prospect Gilberto Mora, who is only 17. Guys, that is a 26-year age difference. We literally have players sharing the exact same tournament stage who could easily be father and son. It just beautifully highlights the incredible blend of, seasoned tactical wisdom and raw, explosive youth. That's what makes the World Cup so special.
The extremes don't stop there. They continue with weight, too. Denmark's powerhouse Jannik Vestergaard weighs in at 98 kilograms. Compare that to Spain's midfield maestro Pedri at just 68 kilograms. This 30-kilogram discrepancy, it dictates entirely different tactical roles on the pitch. Vestergaard uses his mass for these powerful defensive blocks and dominating aerial challenges. Pedri, on the other hand, relies on his lightweight agility, his endurance, and that low center of gravity to just weave through really tight defensive spaces. Once again, the beautiful game uniquely accommodates incredibly diverse physical profiles.
Okay, let's shift gears entirely here. National teams, like Bosnia or Argentina, they are strictly bound by the geographic and physical demographics of their citizens, right? They basically have to play the hand they're naturally dealt. But club football, completely different beast. In the club arena, managers aren't sitting around waiting for a 6'4" defender to randomly be born in their academy, they just go out and buy one. And that brings us seamlessly into the immense financial reality of the summer 2026 transfer window, where tactical shortcomings are solved instantly with cold, hard cash. £69.3 million. Let that sink in. That is the staggering fee paid by Barcelona to secure English winger Anthony Gordon from Newcastle United. It was definitely one of the most eye-catching moves of the summer. And yeah, while there's a bit of conjecture over possible add-ons, the core truth remains exactly the same. When top clubs identify a specific tactical need, in this case, blistering pace and direct attacking output, they are more than willing to deploy massive capital immediately just to get their perfect fit.
And Gordon is far from the only blockbuster move defining the 2026 window. We saw Liverpool dropping £55 million for French defender Jeremy Jacquet to instantly bolster their backline. Real Madrid splashed £51.8 million on Marc Cucurella to snatch him away from Chelsea. And Napoli committed £38 million for Rasmus Højlund from Manchester United. Elite clubs don't construct their ideal physical and tactical profiles through patience or natural demographics. They do it through massive financial leverage.
So this all brings us to a final, kind of provocative thought to leave you with today. In the modern era of football, what really moves the needle more? Is it natural physical demographics, like Bosnia's towering set-piece dominance? Or is it massive transfer budgets, like Barcelona and Real Madrid's huge summer spending sprees? What actually has the bigger impact on lifting the ultimate trophy? Does the raw demographic reality of international football offer a purer test than the financial arms race of club football? It is a truly fascinating debate. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer diving into the extremes of 2026. Keep exploring the data, let us know your thoughts, and I'll catch you in the next one.